Hey guys, and welcome to another video with myself. My being a series where I interview people about the teams they support because that's where the love of FPL is from us being football fans. So here's someone I have wanted to get on my channel for a while. Dan, aka FPL underscore BlackWolf. How are you, sir?
I'm very good. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Happy 4th of July. How does it feel being a Brit in America?
Um, it's difficult at times. I get a lot of stick from people for happy losing day, I guess. But I've been here for 11 years now, so I'm kind of 50-50 about it.
Yeah, because it's always good when you diss about something when none of us were alive, but
Yeah,
cool.
I had nothing to do with it. It's not my fault.
Neither did they.
Exactly.
I see you kept your accent, which is good. So did you
Yeah,
have
I
to work
did.
on it?
Yeah. The thing is, though, when I go back to the UK, I get asked, "Are you from America?" Because I have slight
Slight
connotations of an
twang,
American. So
right?
I'm foreign no matter where I am, which is whatever. But I
It's like
mostly have my accent, yes.
it's good. It's like when I tell people I'm English, I'm like, and they're like, "Oh, are you?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "Which part?" I'm like, "London." So I just keep going and going and going.
I get asked if I'm from London all the time. I say no. I'm about 2 hours north of London. Oh, okay.
That's a fantastic segue, man, to introduce yourself. So give me a little inkling about Dan the man.
Sure. So I'm 33 and I moved to California 11 years ago from Coventry, United Kingdom. That's where I was born and bred. Despite the fact I'm a Wolves fan, we'll get into that later. I'm actually from Coventry. Um, I met a girl online 12 years ago, and so I moved to America for love. Um, we got married pretty quickly, so I got my visa, I got my green card, and now we've been happily married for 11 years. So that's why I'm here.
Beautiful. Any kids?
No kids, and no plans for kids at the moment.
Wonderful. That's why he's
Yeah,
still smiling. Respect,
yeah, exactly.
respect.
Especially during the pandemic, I felt very bad for people who had kids. Whereas I was loving it really, playing video games in the day.
We'll move on because I'm feeling depressed. But
Oh, sorry.
um, next part that I've added, which you weren't really aware of, is at FPL meets in the USA. So Nima was very happy to introduce me as one of the founding members. I was part of the first two, I think, maybe the second one that
Mhm.
happened, and since then it's grown beautifully. And of course, you head at FPL meets in the USA. So I just wanted to know how that came across. Did you just chat to Nima? I mean, you go ahead,
Yeah,
man. Tell us the story.
I mean, it's a really great initiative that Nima's put together, and I was always following his tweets and seeing people get together. And admittedly, I was a little jealous about it because I'm from the UK and I had a lot of friends in the UK, and we used to talk about football all the time. We
Yeah,
used to go out and watch the games and go down for drinks and stuff. And I kind of missed that here. Um, I have some friends who like football in this area, but it's all about American football. It's all about baseball and basketball. They're
right.
the major sports here. And I was really missing that, which is why I originally started FPL USA on Twitter,
Hmm.
just to bring people together in my area that we can talk about football and something I'm really passionate about. And then I thought, oh, it'd be great if we did FPL meets in the USA, so we could actually go out and have drinks and watch the games together, despite the fact it being 7 a.m. kickoffs over here. Um, so yeah, I reached out to Neem and I said, would you be interested if I joined you guys as a FPL meets in the USA heads person? And he loved the idea, and we had a phone call for about 90 minutes to discuss it. And you know, Nima, he'll admit himself he's a little bit of a talker. So we went on
Were
a
you able
little.
to get 5 minutes on, or were you just listening and he was?
I got about 10 minutes of words in. No, I love that guy. He's great. He's
He's
one of the
brilliant.
best people around. So yeah, that's how it came about.
Fantastic. And saw the video with you and the winner, isn't it, Jamie?
Yeah.
Which
So
is
the first one we
fantastic.
did was in San Francisco. It was 7 a.m. on the game week 38. Half the bar was Leeds fans who were just going insane. They were letting out flares in the pub and things like that. And then the other half of us were just watching all the games together. And yeah, Jamie was super calm the whole time. and I was like freaking out and sweating for him because I really wanted him to win, and it was crazy when he won. We all just shouted and cheered.
Amazing.
Amazing. He's a really nice guy. Very nice guy.
No, no, he seems to. I've seen him on a
Yeah.
few streams as well, and
Yeah.
having a drink at like 7-ish is just crazy in the morning.
I had like a little sip of beer and I was like, oh no, I'm good. But other people are like just downing it at 7 a.m. I
Yeah,
don't know how they do it.
unbelievable,
Yeah.
unbelievable,
Yeah.
fantastic, man. No, really excited about that. I've got family in California as well, and all around America. So, hoping in the next couple of years I come down and be part of one of the FPL meets in USA, man. That'd be pretty amazing.
Oh, definitely,
So,
you should do that. Which part of
yeah,
California?
yeah. Mostly Glendale.
Okay, so Southern California. Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So,
not far there.
yeah. So we'll do it. You heard that, guys? Yeah, he's inviting me without knowing it.
Yeah, you heard it. You're invited.
Oh, brilliant. So let's go to why you're really here. So your history of supporting Wolves. So how did it start then?
Sure. So as I said, I was born and bred in Coventry, but my whole family were Wolves fans. I'm pretty sure I came out the womb and was given a Wolves shirt as a baby in the hospital. So I had no choice really. I was from family. I was forced to support Wolves, which
Hmm.
I'm happy about. I really enjoy supporting them. It was really fun growing up in primary school and secondary school, being a Wolves fan. At a school full of Coventry fans, there was a really good rivalry back then because we were both in the championship. So it was a lot of fun. But that's where it came about, all through family.
Was there kind of a player that you attach yourself to? So for example, with me, it was Ian Wright when I was growing up and thought, oh my God, I want to be like Ian Wright. And, was there kind of like a hero that you had at Wolves?
Yeah, I mean, I went to my very first game when I was 7 years old, and it was in the, I believe, 97 season, 96, 97 season in the championship. We beat Tranmere Rovers 3-2. Um, it was just an amazing experience. And the good thing about Molineux is the players, they park in the parking lot. So they drive from the parking lot. See, I'm American already. The car park. And they they come out the stadium and they go to their cars. So it's very easy just to go up to them and get autographs. So it was really
Amazing.
amazing as a little 7-year-old kid to get all your favorite players' autographs. We had like Robbie Keane back then, who
He
came
was
through the Wolves
amazing.
Academy. I
Yeah.
really liked watching him. Um, so it was great.
Who was kind of your favorite player when you were growing up
Back
for
back then, it
Wolves?
was probably Robbie Keane.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm just a little bit too young for the Steve Bull era, who's probably well known to be the best player Wolves have ever had.
Yeah.
He played for England in the 1990s and our all-time top goal scorer. I was a little bit too young to watch him play,
Hmm.
but I was fed all the stories about him, so I kind of idolized him when I was young. Watched a lot of VHS tapes with him. So,
Kids nowadays don't know what a VHS is.
yeah, the little
Like,
tape you put inside the thing and
yeah, and then you record them,
rewind.
and you have to rewound it, and make
Yeah,
sure when you record, you don't record over the past
yeah.
highlights.
And
Yeah,
then you
that's
realize your mum recorded like a play of you over the top of your favorite
dude,
TV show.
dude. She once recorded EastEnders over it. I'm like, Mum, my highlights. She goes, how many times have you seen Arsenal versus Man U the highlights? I'm like, yeah, but that's not the point.
Exactly. Yeah.
So Bruno Lage, obviously, for me, had a very impressive start to the season, and then it kind of petered out, and then Wolves kind of just. I mean, what was the final position at the end? Sorry, was it ninth? No,
10th.
10th. Okay, and it was kind of like, when you kind of want the season to end, you kind of
Yeah,
plateaued in the season.
exactly.
I'm I'm just wondering what your expectations are going into next season.
Yeah, I mean, 4 or 5 weeks before the end of the season, we were fighting West Ham for Europe, and we had like a good chance of getting into Europe, and then it
Yeah,
just went to crap, didn't it? We just forgot how to score. We forgot how to defend. It was just very depressing to watch. It's kind of hard not to be too biased this season. I think fans tend to either be too overly optimistic or too overly pessimistic. But I think a mid-table finish is probably what we're looking at the minute. We have some really top quality players, and if we can keep them, I mean, today João Moutinho signed a new contract, which is really good.
Hmm.
He's getting old, but he's really the
Hmm.
gel of our team. Neves returned to training for us. I'm hoping he can stay in the team. We have people like Neto back to full fitness.
Huge fan. Yeah,
Yeah, he's an amazing player. So if we can keep all these guys fit, and if we can somehow sort out our creativity and our goal scoring, I think we have a good chance of finishing, 8th, 9th, maybe even 7th. But we really need to sort this out. I think a lot of people are touting us for relegation. I don't think we're quite that bad, but
Nowhere near.
I think if we lost Neves and if we got some injuries and we really didn't sort out our attack, then I can see why people would think that. But I think we have a bit too much quality to go into the bottom 3.
Not hearing much with transfer rumors. Is it just being kept very hush at the moment, or Wolves are just? I mean, what's the? You're not really selling anyone or buying anyone. When I was doing a bit of research, but of course you'll know more.
Yeah, I mean, we're owned by a Chinese ownership, and they have this company and there's a lot of rumors that they're in major debt, and they kind of treat Wolves like a business, which works in some areas, but in terms of actually putting money into the team, they're just not doing it. So there's definitely something wrong behind the scenes. If you talk to a lot of Wolves fans, we're very concerned that something's going on that we just don't know about. We were going to sign that Pelinia, and he ended up going to Fulham. So no disrespect to Fulham, but you'd think that Wolves would beat Fulham to a signing.
100%.
And he was only like 17 million, I think it was. So there's definitely some issues behind the scenes with Wolves in terms of money. But
if you know, sorry.
I was going to say, yeah, we're being linked with so many players, but nothing ever concrete. We never look even close to signing someone. So it's very worrying.
Do you think that will affect Bruno Lage? Because obviously he wants to take the next step now, and if he's not getting the resources to be able to strengthen accordingly, then we know how it is, especially with foreign managers as well in the Premier League.
Yeah, I definitely see him getting frustrated if we don't start giving him some money to play with. I mean, he said at the end of last season he really wants to strengthen. He listed all of the positions and players that he needs improvements on, and we're just not doing it. So I can definitely see him getting frustrated if this continues.
Okay. All right. That's almost sad in a way.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we really thought when we got these new owners that they would just pump money into us, like Newcastle are doing, for example, and it just hasn't happened. It was exciting for the first few years when we got like Neves and Moutinho and all these guys.
The whole Portuguese contingent, yeah? The whole Portuguese contingent. Oh, I know. You've run out of Portugal players to buy, so that's it.
What it is. Well, this Pelinia guy was Portuguese, so I thought, oh, we'll get him for sure. He's Portuguese. Didn't happen. Yeah, didn't happen.
Well, to a little bit of a hint of nostalgia here. We're taking you back to your all times 11. So you're kind enough. Oh man, you know the setup, don't you? Yeah, you're like he already. Dan got it to me straight away. I didn't even ask. He's like, here it is, Ray. I'm like, what a man, what a man. So
it proves I do actually watch your videos. Yeah, I don't just say I do.
You don't just chat bullshit, yeah, like some of the others. Like, yeah, Ray, we love your show. Yeah. So. For those who might be listening, because obviously with YouTube Premium you can record and just listen as well. We got Murray in goal, Doherty, Cody, Jolie and Lescott. When I saw that, I was very happy because Lescott's brilliant. Is that Dennis Owen?
It is Dennis Owen.
Yeah, possibly the second best left back I've seen in the Premier League after Ashley Cole, I'd say. Then you got Ince, legend, Neves and Moutinho, absolutely. Saka on the right, who I remember, Matty Jarvis, amazing. And then you got Ebanks Blake, who's a bit of a lower division hero. So I know a lot of these players, but by all means, you could go player by player, however you want to approach this.
I'll do it player by player. And I want to just first say before I go into this is my personal all-time favorite 11.
Of course.
By no means is this our best 11, because I can imagine myself getting some stick from Wolves fans for not including Steve Bull, for example, or the likes of Stan Cullis or Billy Wright. These guys all have stands named after them. They're Wolves legends, and no doubt they would be in the best Wolves 11. But before my time, so I wanted to pick players who are personal favourites of mine.
You attach to, absolutely.
Yeah, because Wolves were amazing in like the 50s. We were one of the best teams in Europe. We won everything, but it means nothing to me really. Anyway,
like the 4th of July. It means nothing. We went alive.
Yeah, I just like the barbecue. That's all I like.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so Matt Murray in goal. So he played his whole career at Wolves. I say that, but he only made I think 100 and something appearances because his time at Wolves was completely ravaged by injury, and he
Mm.
only had 2 full seasons. However, in those 2 seasons, I think he got Player of the Season and Young Player of the Season because he was just immense. Um, I've no doubt if he stayed fit, he would have went on to be an England goalkeeper. He was that good. And I have very fond memories of him because in the 2002-2003 season, he was the goalkeeper for the playoff final
Mm.
when we beat Sheffield United. I think it was at Millennium Stadium in Cardiff, and we got promoted to the Premier League for the first time since I've been a fan. And we were 3-0 up at halftime, and then Sheffield United got a penalty in the first 5 or 10 minutes of the second half, and he saved it. And I just knew at that moment, oh, we're going to win this, we're going to get promoted. So I'm very fond of this guy. He's also clearly a very nice guy. I think he's a pundit now, and
Yeah,
he
he
does a
is.
lot of Wolves things behind the scenes. Very
Yeah,
nice guy.
yeah.
So he has to be in my top 11.
Okay.
And just to say, when we did get promoted to the Premier League, he actually got injured in the first game, so he missed the entire Premier League season. And no doubt that's probably one of the reasons we went straight back down because our reserve goalkeeper was nowhere near as good.
Mm.
So anyway, Matt Doherty next. I think that one's pretty obvious. Absolute legend at Wolves. He was so good. Tottenham have seen him last season, what we saw for many, many seasons.
Yeah.
So attacking. He gives everything. He scores goals. He's funny behind this. I watch a lot of behind the scenes footage at Wolves, and he's a very funny guy. Like everyone loved him in the dressing room. So very fond of Doherty. He's definitely my favourite right back I've seen at Wolves. So I don't need to give too much detail into him. The same as Cody, speaks for itself. The best captain I've seen at Wolves for sure. I'm so glad he got his England call up.
Yeah.
It's debatable whether he. It's bad to. I'm not sure I want to say this. It's debatable if he is good enough to start for England, especially in a back four, because he's more of a sweeper in a back five. But
I agree.
in terms of having him around the dressing room, it's obvious everyone loves him. Very good captain. No doubt he'll be a pundit when he's done,
Yeah.
because he's very entertaining. He does so much for charity as well, so everyone just loves him at Wolves, and he's been there for a long, long time now. So Julian Lescott next. You said you were aware of Julian Lescott.
Of course.
He made over 200, I think it was, appearances for Wolves. And he played during the years with like Matt Murray, where I became a fan as a kid. So I have very fond memories of him.
Mm.
He was also in the team that won the playoff final in 2002, 2003. And like Murray too, he also got injured. I think he damaged his knee ligament or something. So he missed that entire Premier League season when we got promoted and never actually played in the Premier League for Wolves, which is really disappointing. So when we got relegated, I think he signed for Everton.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where he became an FPL legend. I remember that. So many goals, so many points. I think, did he have the record at some point?
He did.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, so he was a very, very good player. And I'm glad he went on to win the Premier League with Man City. And he deserved that. You asked earlier about Irwin. That is Dennis Irwin. It was very weird seeing Dennis Irwin sign for Wolves from Manchester United. He finished his career at Wolves. I think it was the first time I'd seen a true superstar sign for Wolves.
Yeah.
And I was just shocked to see Dennis Irwin in a Wolves shirt. And he was no different than he was at Man United. He always gave everything. He was consistent. Great left foot. Also in the team that got us promoted in his very, very first season. Went on to play for us in the Premier League and had a very good season for us. And then he retired at Wolves. So I think Dennis Irwin has to be in my team, just purely for the nostalgia factor of seeing Dennis Irwin in a Wolves shirt. It was very surreal.
Yeah.
And then
Genuinely world class.
Oh yeah,
I mean, he's. I think he was actually right-footed, and he he used to take penalties. I remember from Manchester United, and before the last 3 years, where you have these freak right backs, I was trying to make like my all-time Premier League team, which is something you like to do, of course,
yeah.
just as a football fan. And I feel Ashley Cole should be left back, even though he's killed me as an Arsenal fan. He should be there because he's one of the best left backs I've ever seen, actually. And on the right, I was kind of like, well, I don't want Gary Neville because he's very solid, but I didn't see him give too much. So I actually thought, you know what, I'll put Dennis Owen on as right back because he is right-footed, even though he never played there, which is pretty crazy. So
Yeah.
on
So
the
I
ball,
misspoke there. So yeah, he is. I think you're right. He is right foot, and I believe he did play on the right for Wolves. But I put him at
okay.
left back because
Oh right, because that's
yeah,
where he played for Manchester United. Sorry, because I didn't know Dennis Owen played for Wolves, which is
yeah.
why I asked. Is that Owen? No
Yeah,
way.
I think it's a long time ago now, but I think you're right. I think he played right back for Wolves.
Right. Okay. So for my Premier League 11, before all these freaks have come, like Trent and all these guys,
Yeah,
I think Owen's like one of the best fullbacks.
yeah, for sure. And always a consistent performer. I don't think he ever had a bad game. I don't remember ever seeing him have a bad game. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was great.
But please go
Um,
on. Sorry.
I know, I like this. And then we have Paul Ince, another one that kind of speaks for itself. He joined the same time as Owen. So again, it's the nostalgia factor of suddenly seeing Paul Ince and Dennis Irwin in a Wolves shirt. Super
Wow.
surreal. He was our captain when he joined, and also in the team that got us promoted for the first time. Um, I mean, I'm sure you know all about Paul Ince, who's super solid in the middle of midfield. Um, got some good goals. Was always dug into every challenge. Very passionate, very
Yeah.
aggressive, and I really loved watching him as a kid. Um, and he actually stayed for us for I think 4 or 5 years, and actually didn't want to leave Wolves when he left. Um, I think he applied to be Wolves manager actually at the end of those 4 years, and he
Wow.
lost the job to Mick McCarthy. They
Yeah.
got the job, and then Mick McCarthy said, "Paul Ince, I don't want you to play for Wolves," and then he left Wolves. But he's always said he really loves Molyneux. He really loved playing for Wolves. He loves the fans, and he hopes to come back one day as manager. So he has to be in my team. Um, there's a few players who I could have picked there, but let's pick Paul Ince.
Yeah, no, I'm down.
Yeah. Moutinho and Neves speak for themselves.
Finally, we got some Portuguese lads.
I didn't want to add too many players from the current team because
Wow.
no doubt our current team is probably the best team we've had in a long time. Obviously, we've never been this good, apart from the 50s, like I said, maybe the 70s, a couple of times, 80s. But Moutinho and Neves as world class players. That I don't need to speak too much about them. Everyone's seen them play for Wolves. They're unbelievable players. Moutinho is a legend. I love that he signed today, and the fact Neves is still at Wolves is a miracle because I've no doubt he could play for one of the top 4 teams. He's that
Yep.
good.
Yep.
He completely dominates the midfield. He controls every single game. He scores absolute worldies, as you've seen. Um, I'll never forget that championship season where he scored that ridiculous goal. I can't remember who it was
Unbelievable.
against.
Yeah,
Leeds, I
was
think.
it towards the end of the season
Yeah,
that
he just
promoted?
like
He scored from like 38
um,
yards out or
yeah,
something.
yeah. He took a really bad touch and it kind of went over his head behind him, and then he
Yes.
just volleyed it into the
Yes.
top corner. Insane. So yeah, so those two speak for themselves. And then we have Matt Jarvis, who you said you were aware of.
Of course.
Yeah, he was amazing left winger for Wolves. Really entertaining to watch. I think he played for us when we got promoted as champions in the 08-09 season.
Hmm.
Um, and that was just a great season to watch when we got promoted as champions. It was really cool to see us win the league, and he was one of our best players, no doubt. And that was at a time where Wolves were very entertaining to watch, unlike they are now, where people find them quite boring. We were super entertaining back then, very attacking team. And he was the first player to get called up for England since the 90s, Steve Ball. So that was really cool to see a Wolves player in the England team. Um, and then we got relegated and he went to West Ham. And I
Yeah.
don't remember him too much at West Ham, but I think he had a good first season there, if I recall correctly. So yeah, he has to be in my team. Unfortunately, his career ended really early with bad injuries, but
Hmm.
yeah, great guy. Bakary Saka. So that was when he played in like 2012, 2015 when Wolves got relegated all the way down to League One. So it was kind of a rough time to be a Wolves fan watching them in League One. However, that season in League One was like one of the most entertaining seasons I've ever watched as a Wolves fan. We completely destroyed the league.
Just dominated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got the highest ever points total in League One, and I had so many really fun away days in that season. Just little tiny stadiums and just watching us destroy every single team we played. And he was unbelievable to watch. I think he got our player of the season that year. And then again, when we got promoted to the Championship, he was also incredibly good then. And we had a front three of Dicko, Afobe, and Saka. And there's this song, like, you know that song, It's Magic, you know that song? Dicko, Afobe, Sako. So it was really cool to watch.
I want to clip that for the meets, the next
Yeah.
meets.
You can cut that part out.
Yeah,
People
I
don't
am.
need to hear that. So yeah, I loved watching him. Purely for the entertainment factor. He was so skillful. And then he went on to play for Palace in the Premier League, I think. And I don't think he really did anything after that. Not really.
No.
But for Wolves, he was incredible. Sorry, I'm taking so long to go through this team. I'm just
Well, why not? Well, I mean, the reason I wanted you is I wanted you to elaborate on points. It's brilliant. Please, I want to understand why you selected these players.
Sure. And then Ebanks Blake. It was very hard not to pick Jimenez here because obviously he's
Bit
one of the best
surprised, actually. Yeah.
I was very close to picking Jimenez, but I wanted to pick someone different.
Mm.
There's no doubt Jimenez is one of the best strikers we've had in a long, long time. And I love the guy. I just wanted to go a little bit different. And I've gone again for nostalgia because Ebanks Blake, I think we signed him from Plymouth in the Championship when he was a really good player for Plymouth. And I remember that he was a fan favourite there, and all of their fans were really upset when we signed him. And then he was just amazing for us. He got so many goals. I think he got over 60 goals for Wolves. And I remember he scored against Charlton, just one of the best goals I've ever seen a Wolves striker score. He just ran right down the byline, did this really crazy bit of skill, and then just fired it into the top corner. He was an amazing striker in the Championship for us. I think he came through the Man United Academy, right?
Yeah.
Pretty sure.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, so I think he got 2 successive golden boots in the Championship. So it was just really fun to watch him just dominate that league and score so many goals for Wolves at a time when the faith in Wolves was really being restored, that we could actually go on to become a top team again. So I've picked him for that reason. But Jimenez would probably sneak him into my team if I had to pick between the two. So that's my team.
Fantastic, thank you.
Yeah.
Would the captain of this team be Cody or Ince?
Oh, that's a rough question. I wasn't prepared for that question.
It can't all be smiles and giggles, man. Come on, I need to challenge you a little bit.
Well, yeah.
And why?
Oh man, Ince. Oh no. I mean, Ince was a proper captain, wasn't he? He was just like he just dominated the midfield. He had the aggression.
And he had the voice as well, you know, like
Yeah,
he'd
so does
give
Cody,
it about, but Cody would as well, exactly. And the thing is that Cody, it's amazing to see a proper sweeper playing again in the back three. You know, he just plays it like an Italian. It's amazing.
Yeah, he's yeah.
But anyway, let's stop stalling.
Cody.
Okay.
I changed my mind, Cody.
Why?
Because I love him. No, because he plays that traditional sweeper role, doesn't he? And he's just so vocal.
That's literally what I just said. But yeah.
But every time Wolves score, he like runs the entire length of the pitch, and he's always the first player to celebrate with the player. Just for how he is as a person, I think I will pick him. He's just I think he's a lot of people's favorite player as a person. He loves Wolves. He does so much for charity. He's never in trouble. You never see him in the media for any reason. You can watch a ton of YouTube videos of him doing interviews with Sky Sports and stuff, and he just makes you laugh every time.
Sky Sports. When he's with Carragher and Neville, it's amazing.
Exactly. So not only is he a great player, he's a great captain, he's also an incredible person. So for that reason, I will pick him.
Brilliant. You're going to think about that when we finish as well.
Yeah, Cody.
Fantastic. So, of course, we're going to go to FPL, and we've got questions loaded on it, which is fantastic. But I am going to, of course, this is all beautifully timed as to when the prices are going to come out.
Yeah, you meant it.
Yeah, of course, completely. No, I didn't. So if I said to you, Dan, okay, we've got the whole price list, but you can only select the three best, who would be the three that you would kind of advocate to someone else?
Um, so tough. Do you mean in the same team? Because well, let me explain that. Because I think my number one, I would say, is Neto. I
Yeah,
think they price him very, very good at 5.5.
yeah.
Um,
Do you
when
think
he's
he'll
on,
do you think he'll play up front as part of like a 3-5-2 maybe, or will it
if
be 3-4-3?
unless Large changes his formation, he will play on the left wing,
Okay.
or the right wing. But if he decides to go to a 3-5-2, for example, there's no reason why he can't be in the front too. The same as Podence, the same as Huang. Um, I'm really going to keep my eye closely on preseason to see if Large tries to change the system a little bit because it just
Mm.
stopped working, didn't it?
Yeah.
But regardless, even if he plays on the wing, he's still a top player who's going to get goals for us if we can fix our attack. And
So perfect. So I'll just say top three. They don't all have to be in the team.
okay,
Yeah.
so I'd say Neto for the reasons I just said, and I'd also say Johnny and Aitnari. So that's
Mm.
why I asked you about same team because you wouldn't pick Johnny and Aitnari, you'd pick one or the other. But they're being priced at 4.5 with the first 6 fixtures that Wolves had. I think I'd pick those two. I'm getting so many questions from people. If you had to pick one, which one would it be? And that's
Well, I'm about
super
to ask you
difficult
again
question.
because I'm not original.
Yeah. No, it's a good question. It's a difficult one. And it's very 50-50 for me.
Mm.
I'm sitting on the fence, of course. But we have Semedo is injured for the start of the season. So I'm expecting, unless we sign anyone or a change of system, to have Aitnari on the left and Johnny on the right. Um, Aitnari is on set pieces. He's
Yeah.
very attacking. He's got a great cross.
Awesome
Um,
player.
very, very good player. That's why Chelsea were linked with him at some point. A very, very good player. But Johnny is a little bit more of a goal threat. I think he drives into the box and he gets more chances to score. Um, so it's very close between them. I get asked who is more nailed. Also a very difficult question because if everyone's fit, Johnny can actually play left wing back and right wing back. So there's no reason why we won't see games with Semedo on the right, Johnny on the left, Aitnari rested, Aitnari on the left, Semedo on the right, Johnny rested. Um, we really have to keep our eye on the preseason because I think Laj really likes Semedo. So I don't see Semedo just being dropped. They're all
No.
going to rotate for the two positions for sure.
Mm.
So it's a 50-50 call.
I've had similar questions regarding Smith Rowe and Martinelli,
Yeah,
like for
right.
Arsenal in left wing back, and I'm just like, well, Ray, which one's nailed? I'm like, well, if we had a cup final tomorrow, Martinelli would play. But I have like no doubts about it. But if we're going through the Premier League and you give me 5 Premier League games, I honestly think it's like 60% Martinelli and Smith Rowe 40% to start the games.
Yeah,
It's position, it's opposition dependent because Johnny is better defensively, in my opinion, than Night Nori.
yeah,
So then, if they're playing against a team more offensively skilled, I'd expect Johnny to play. But then, if they're playing like someone who's just going to sit back the whole time and try and keep, kind of like a low block, maybe even someone like Leeds, I know March was trying to do that, then, you're going to play Night Nori, isn't it? So for me, it's very opposition dependent. I know
yeah.
I'm kind of making it easy for you and I to get out, if you like, if people ask, but it really is, isn't it? It really
I mean,
depends the
it's the truth.
opposition you're
Yeah,
facing. Yeah.
yeah. I'm not just saying that to get out of it. It's totally. I mean, Laj even said it himself when he got interviewed. He said he plays his team based on the opposition.
Mm.
Um, that's why last season he played Marcel instead of Aitnari in a lot of games because he said Marcel is a lot more controlled on the ball, a lot more calm and collected than Aitnari is. So he's going to play him against certain opposition. The problem is I haven't been able to figure out his rules because he just randomly benched Aitnari for 3 games and played Marcel, and then vice versa. There seems to be no pattern to his benchings that I've been able to figure out. So I would
So
say
is
none of the wing backs are nailed for sure. I don't like
yeah.
the term nailed because it means they're going to play 90 minutes every game. It's just not going to happen. They're all going to get rotated. But I think at 4.5 million, you just have to expect that.
Is that kind of like your joint second pick, like Johnny Stroke and Nori?
Yeah, I mean, people are going to say if you had to pick one, I'd probably pick Johnny.
Johnny.
Yeah, I would probably pick Johnny if I had to pick, purely because of his versatility and because he's a favorite. He's a fan favorite. I love Johnny. He almost made my all-time 11 team instead of Irwin. I like him that much. But for FPL, it's so close. We're gonna see games for sure where one of them is gonna haul and the other one isn't,
Of course.
and vice
Standard.
versa. It's just gonna happen.
Standard.
Yeah, it's just gonna happen. People just need to
Okay.
expect that you're paying 4.5 million for a player who's probably going to be benched every now and again.
Yeah.
Just have to expect it.
And I think as well is I was thinking about that player is that, Marcel as well will sometimes go left wing back. So now you don't really have the certainty of who's going to start apart from Cody in defense. And
Yeah,
I'm a safety guy. I'm trying to change that in FPL, but I think because of my job in operations, I always have to think about, you know, contingency plans and stuff like that, And
yeah,
last season, I went Rudiger over James because I'm like, Rudiger will play the games. And he did play the games. But then when James played, he was unbelievably explosive. And I worked out to get considerably more points during that period that
yeah,
I was kind of looking at least 25 points, but played 3 games less, which is hilarious. So I
exactly.
guess, yeah, it's you know what you're getting, high risk, high reward. But at 4.5 million, you're pretty relaxed, really.
You have to just expect it. Yeah. I mean, I've had people ask me, "Oh, Marcellus left now. Does that mean Aitner is nailed?" No, it
Sorry.
doesn't. Because Johnny can play both. I've had people say to me, "Saiss is now left. Therefore, is Kilman and Bolly nailed?" And I'm
Bolly,
saying
yeah,
no
I was going
because
to say Bolly. Yeah.
we have Toti Gomez, who's waiting to come in, who's a very, very good player, who I could see forcing his way into the 11. We also have a player called Yerson Mascara, who signed for us last season, who got injured for most of the year, so he didn't play a lot. But he looks like a really good player who I could also see possibly forcing his way into the 11 at some point. So there's no nail players apart from Sarah and Cody.
So third choice, Sa.
Yeah, yeah. First Neto, joint second, Ran and Johnny, third Jose. However, I've changed my mind after seeing the Chelsea because I don't think you would pick Sarr over Mendy, and they're both the same price.
No, absolutely not.
So that kind of, I don't think Sarr would be my next point anymore. Probably, yeah, I'd probably pick Cody or Kilman. Yeah, I don't know. Podence maybe.
Okay, stop.
There's
Stop the
really,
stream.
yeah, there's
We're
really,
stopping the stream right now.
yeah. I'm just gonna name all the
Apologies.
players at this point. There's really, I would avoid. I'm gonna summarize it. Neto, Johnny, and Aitner are definitely my top 3 picks. The
Okay.
rest of them, I think you have to wait and see to see if we change formation, to see if we make different signings, to see if Wolves are going to be any good. I think it's a wait and see. We're going to have the first 6 fixtures that are really good, and then we have a horrible, horrible run
Yeah,
where you're not going to want
unbelievable.
Wolves players anyway.
Nope.
So you have a good little block of fixtures there for later on in the season. If you want to bring a Wolves player back in, we should have enough information to make a more informed decision, I think.
Brilliant.
There's my answer. That sounded a lot better than
Yeah,
just
that was
listing
that was that
players.
was really well done. Shit. Great job. I could tell while you were talking, you were thinking as well. It was
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
right, I'm just gonna say some mouth shit and then eventually come up with something
Yeah, for sure.
magical,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
you have.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we also have players in waiting like Chiquinho who looks really, really good.
Yeah,
He hasn't
yeah,
even
I've
been
seen
given
a
a
little bit
price
of
yet.
him. No, he hasn't.
If he's given like 4.5, he probably won't now I've seen the rest of the prices, but if he's given 4.5 or 5 and all of a sudden he starts getting more game time and starts looking as good as he did, then he becomes an option at some point. But not for the first 6 games. That's kind of my point.
Cool. All right, man.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. I feel like as we've gone further, you've kind of opened up more, in the beginning a little bit apprehensive and stuff, but now just completely come out, which is fantastic. You're fully comfortable, yeah? You good?
Oh yeah, I'm very comfortable.
Wonderful. So we'll go to community questions, and my goodness, we got some doozies, as the
I
Americans like to
know.
say. Yeah,
I had a little
brilliant.
read of some of these.
We did kind of go over them as well, but of course, we'll have a look as well. But can you see that all right?
Yes. Derek.
Excellent. So we got Derek Chin. So Great guy on Twitter. He's been very supportive of my content as well, which is brilliant. We kind of answered the question already,
Yeah,
his first one, but his second question, with Neto price at 5.5, is he a good budget enabler when season starts, or is Large slowly integrating him after his major injury? Which is a great point because he was out for like, I don't know, 7, 8 months, but he did play quite a few of the last 6, 7 games, I think.
that's the thing. I think that stage has already gone. The slowly. He's right to say, is he going to be slowly integrated? But he was already at the end of last season, and
Mm.
now he's going to have a full preseason. So unless he gets injured in preseason or something happens, I see no reason for him not to start the new season as one of the first choice wingers up top.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you liked it. I literally said, like a week before the prices were coming out, that Neto's my guy that I've got an eye on, and he's just brilliantly priced because,
Yeah.
if it doesn't work out, it's like, well, okay, well, there's other options, not necessarily around 5.5, but definitely other players. And yeah, I could see him playing up front sometimes as well if they want to suddenly adopt a 3-5-2. And
No, he can. He definitely can.
yeah, and it'd be brilliant foil to Jimenez. So awesome, great question.
Yeah.
Next, FPL Kante. If you want to get one player from Wolves defense for game week 1, would it rather be Sar or Cody or one of the wing backs? So
Yeah. Johnny Aitnery. I think we already answered that one too, kind of. If I had to pick between Sarr and Cody, let's just pretend he didn't ask the wings back. But I'd pick Cody purely
yeah,
because of the
Mendy.
pricing of the other goalkeepers that they've released. I don't think Sarr's going to be so low owned now. There's just no reason to have him
Yeah.
the way they've priced it.
I love how they've priced goalkeepers. They're actually a proper option, which is
Yeah,
brilliant.
yeah.
Firstly, but fantastic, Kante. Yeah, great question. And also, you release really good content, man. I've been looking at it recently. Some really good stuff. Keep it
Oh, yeah,
up.
he's a him and Wrangler. They have their own show
Yes, I
called
do.
Under the
Yeah,
Radar. It's very very good. They're great guys.
yeah,
Those two.
yeah. Um, Wrangler, we will be coming up to, not quite yet. We got Yogesh here. Which one Wolves asset would you strongly consider? We've kind of gone through these, but out of
Neto,
respect. But Neto, I'd say.
definitely. Pedro Neto, 100%.
Brilliant. Cheers, though, Yogesh. Thank you very much for the question. Yeah, FPL of the day. Yeah, top lad.
Yeah,
Jay, met him at FPL Juice, and yeah, really, really good guys. But okay, let's go
yeah.
one
We
by
love
one.
Jay.
He's a really good guy and growing brilliantly. So keep up the great work, man. And like I said, met him in person at the FPL Juice Studios, and he's really sound chap. So best FPL tips, let's just say 3. I think that's the best way of doing it. What would you
Free
say?
mate. Let's see. So I think my first one would probably be patient with your players. Don't overreact or knee jerk when they don't perform. I think we've all been guilty of that at times.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been guilty of that for sure.
And will be again.
Will be again for sure. If your player has a bad game week, don't just immediately transfer them out because you're angry. However, you picked them for a reason, so give them a little bit of a chance to reward you for picking them. However, I think there's a sweet spot. I think it's important to say there's a sweet spot because you don't want to be too stubborn at the same time.
Mm,
You don't want to pick a player and be like, oh no, he'll perform next week. He'll perform next week. He'll perform next week. And then you've missed out on 5, 6 game weeks of this guy not performing. I think there's a sweet spot there that you have to find.
mm.
But my first tip would be not to overreact, not to knee jerk. Something we're all guilty of. Even the best players, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, big time. Second tip.
I think have a transfer and chip strategy would be my second tip. And have a good plan for that, but be willing to be adaptive, be willing to change it if need be. Don't just be fully focused on that one chip strategy and not be willing to change it. We all have to be adapted depending on how the situation changes. But I think it's good to at least have a plan in the back of your mind throughout the season of how to use your chips and how to use your transfers.
Mm.
I have a bit of an issue with chips. Last season, especially when they gave us those 2 free hits, I was like, oh, yay, a new free hit. Awesome. I'm going to use it right away in game week 24 and waste it on Everton players. I was one of those guys that did that. So this is a tip I'm giving that I should probably use myself more often too. I think I give pretty good advice and I don't always take it myself.
Those who can't do teach.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's a good tip for anyone. Is just to make sure you have a chip strategy in place, but be willing to be adaptive.
Brilliant. And number 3?
Number 3, um, I think it's okay to take hits. I think too many people are unwilling to take hits. I think it's okay to take hits, especially if you're planning for a double game week or if you're bringing in a player to captain.
Mm.
But like my first tip, I think there's a limit here. You don't want to just throw hits out left, right, and center. You want to be really strategic with the hits you take. But I don't quite agree with the narrative that hits are not good. We've seen a lot of people use them to their advantage
Yeah.
as long as they're played strategically.
Beautiful.
A well-timed hit will pay off immediately.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's go with those.
Sticking with the theme of 3. Now, this is a different question. Yeah, it is kind of. I think it's top 3 Wolves players to look out for this season. I kind of feel like that's what it's supposed to say.
To look out for. Okay, so let's go a little different with this. I think Chiquinho is one of them. I'd like to say. I'm going to treat this as a which players would no one really think about that could perhaps be someone that could potentially become an option at some point. So let's
Yeah.
say Chiquinho might be a good one if he's priced correctly and if he's given a chance.
What
If we,
position is he? Sorry, is he
he's also a
defense?
winger,
A winger. Okay.
but he can. Last season played him at right wing back,
Mm.
so we should keep an eye on that also. Because if he's priced as a midfielder and then they go and play him at right wing back, he's a no go straight away. But his natural position is a attacking winger,
Okay.
and he looks very good when he plays. He's very direct. He had a great cross. So I'd like to see him given more chances because we're really struggling with creativity, and I think that's the kind of guy who can give us a bit of a spark. So we'll see about him. Another guy is, I would say, Gibbs White if he stays at Wolves. I'm not sure he's going to stay, but I would like to see him given a chance. He played very well for Sheffield United in the Championship last year.
Mm.
I think he's the kind of midfield creativity that we need in the centre, or on the wing also. So if Lage gives him a chance, if Lage proves that because when we first got Lage, people were saying he's great with young players. I think he found João Felix, and he was the one that made João Felix a top player.
Mm.
So he's well known for developing youth. So I would like to see him given a chance with Morgan Gibbs White. I'd like to see what he can do with him, and he's one to watch just in case he gets a run of games. Third one is a tough one.
I mean, you could go for Johnny if you want, because a lot of people will pick him. In my opinion.
Yeah, we can say Johnny. I think Johnny's expected to be pretty good. That's the thing. I was trying to be a little different, but we can go Johnny. Maybe someone like Huang, because he was priced at 6 million. So I think that immediately put a lot of people off.
Mm.
But he was also moved to a midfielder. So if he gets given a chance to play as a striker once in a while, and he actually starts getting some goals, a 6 million striker getting some goals might be a good option.
Oh yeah, I was at the game at the Emirates last season when we beat Wolves 2-1, but it was like a late show.
Yeah.
And Huang Li Chan was just a nuisance. Like no one was pressing like he was off the ball. Just no one. Like we couldn't breathe from minute 1 all the way to stoppage time. We just couldn't breathe. So he's a player off the ball who I really rate highly because it's not just, oh yeah, he's good because he runs around. Anyone can do that. Well, no, they can't because you have to be measured when to press. But if
Yeah.
with someone like Lee Chan, very similar to like Park Ji-sung, could just run all day, isn't it? Run all day and press, and actually has good ability on the ball as well. So he's actually a player, right?
Yeah, he looks, when he's on form and when he plays well, he looks incredible. His problem last season was his consistency. He would have games where he would just disappear.
Yeah.
But when he
And,
was on,
and literally just run around.
yeah, he would literally just run around, and he'd be completely invisible the whole game. But when he did play well, he was unstoppable. He had a few games where he just destroyed his opponents. So if he can pick up some run of form, and if he gets given a chance, especially if he plays as a striker in a front two or something like that, then we have an out of position 6 million striker. So I'm not saying these are good picks. I'm saying they're people to look out for. They could potentially become picks at some point.
Brilliant. So keeping up with 3. No, I'm kidding. How many push-ups can you do uninterrupted?
This is a hilarious question. I don't know why he asked this, but I don't know, about 40,000 probably. Okay, so I actually didn't know the answer to this, so I went into my garage and gave it a little go. I got to about 100, and then I was getting a little sweaty.
Is that right? Yeah.
So let's just say 100.
Any respect you had has dissipated. Anyway, we'll go to the next question. So apparently 100 guys. We'll go to Wrangler, who yeah, brilliant. We just spoke about him. Another great content, really massive fan, brilliant guy. Interested to know what would be the this is brilliant because I was going to ask you this question as well. What would be the best Wolves 11 for the upcoming season? He's being greedy, wanted to, Wrangler, whatever you want, man. You deserve it. But what would be your best 11 like today? Like everyone's fit, and then I'll give mine because why not?
You give yours. Okay, I'm gonna stick with the formation that he played last year. Let's just assume that. So Sarri in goal, obviously. I'd pick. Oh, that's tough with the wing backs. Ooh, now I can see why Lage has a difficult job here. I'm gonna put Johnny right wing back, and I'm gonna put Aitnari left wing back. I'm gonna drop Semedo, which is controversial, but we have to pick someone. I'm gonna go Cody, Bolly, and Kilman. Yeah, it's a back 3. Then I'm gonna have Moutinho and Neves. So what's that? 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm gonna have Jimenez, Neto, and Podence.
Okay.
I think that's what I'd go for. but that's rough. Semedo missing out would be difficult. I'd love to see Chiquinho given a chance, like I said. But if I had to pick a starting 11 for the first game, that's probably what it would be.
Okay, my turn. Because why not? Is Sarr. The back 3, I'd go the same as you. I'm a huge fan of Bowley. Before he got injured, I thought he was one of the best centre halves in the league. I thought absolutely brilliant. Season before last, absolutely brilliant. When we were linked to him, I was like, yes, please, I want some of that. Similar to you, I'd go Semedo and Johnny simply because I don't think you can play Semedo and Aitnari together because I feel defensively they're pretty weak, and I feel you always want one of your fullbacks or wing backs to be kind of more defensively astute, and I think that's what Johnny offers personally.
So you would drop Aitnari?
Yeah, I would. I'd play 3 in the midfield, and you said it, but I'm a fan of his. I would play Moutinho, Neves, and Gibbs White. I really like Gibbs White as a player, actually. He's someone I followed a little bit, and I think he's a very good Premier League player. And I think he offers a little bit of that flair you were kind of saying as well, centrally as well. Because as brilliant as Moutinho goes, sometimes I feel he needs help centrally, and I think adding another number in there and Gibbs White could help. And then
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, and then I'd have Neto in the free role behind Jimenez. Let Neto kind of do what he wants. I think Neto has elite ability. Like if he has a good season, I could see him going to one of the big clubs around Europe. Seriously, I think he's got unbelievable talent, and Jimenez would prosper with that personally. So yes, that's my pick. What do you think?
I like it. It's a good team. I would like to see Gibbs White given a chance, like I said earlier. So why not?
Yeah,
I like it.
And we kind of touched on it really, but also some tactical analysis, potential formation.
I love this question. Tactical analysis, potential formation.
I get my notepad out.
I mean, I think we've kind of touched on it. I think I got my eye closely on pre-season because I think we might see a change of formation from Lage, possibly because it just wasn't working at the end. So I think he might try a few things. But
Can
he
Cody
also
play
might.
in a back four?
Cody.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit of a worry. I'm not sure he'd. If we played a back four, I'm not sure Cody would make my starting 11.
He wouldn't make mine.
No, I think I'd play someone like
Kilman and Bolly.
Kimon and Bolly, or even Bolly and someone like Toti Gomez,
Yeah.
who looks very strong and has played in a back four. So, and then I would definitely have Johnny and Semedo in a back four, I believe, rather than Aitnari.
Mm.
So yeah, he could. And then he could do what you'd said and have the two midfielders in Moutinho and Neves and then play someone like Gibbs White or even Neto or someone in front of them. So he could. I mean, these are questions I just don't know at this point. I really need to see preseason.
Mm-hmm.
I expect to change there. We can't play like we did end of last year. It just wasn't working.
Well, they say it in America actually, and I say it as well. I feel Wolves kind of mailed it in the last 5-6 games. It's like they were ready for the season to end,
Yeah,
even though they still had something to fight for. You felt
exactly.
like everyone mailed it in, isn't it?
Yeah,
Wolves
yeah.
became an easy game, which is, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but everyone was, on the beach, as they say. That's how it
No,
felt. That's how
yeah.
it felt.
They went from being one of the most difficult teams to play to being a walkover very
Yeah,
quickly.
yeah,
We showed signs of being a little better towards the end, but not really.
yeah. Cool. All right. Next question from FPL Dan. Oh man, what a top lad. The tournaments have
Yeah,
just
we,
been
we love
brilliant
Dan,
during
don't we?
preseason. Dan's amazing. The cider tournament, my cider won. The chocolate tournament. Yeah, my chocolate got to the final, but didn't win.
You're a Lindor fan, huh?
Yeah, massive,
I'm a big
massive.
Maltesers fan. I actually voted for Maltesers, so I was very
Well,
happy.
well, I mean, I'm so happy for Dan that Maltesers actually retweeted it and then sent him a gift pack, which is
Yeah,
unbelievable,
yeah.
unbelievable, and he's just keeping it up. Absolutely brilliant, Dan. Keep up the brilliant work. Met him as
Slightly off
well.
topic there is Maltesers won. In America, we don't have Maltesers. We have something very similar called Whoppers, and they're
Right.
just nowhere near as good. They taste
Yeah.
gross, to be honest. So I really miss Maltesers.
Yeah, I know the candy in America and here, it's just quite distinct differences in taste as well, isn't it?
I mean, Dan's second question, I'll get into that because that's one of my answers. So,
But first ever Wolves experience, I guess we covered it, isn't it? Really, with the game that you went to
yeah,
when you were
7 years
7.
old, I went to
Yeah.
Wolves Tranmere. We won 3-2, and it was an amazing experience. And then, like I said, I waited out in the um, car park afterwards for the players to come out, and I got all of their autographs, and it was just an amazing
Parking lot.
experience.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, that's my first Wolves experience. Amazing.
Awesome. And yeah, go ahead. What are the pros and cons of being in the USA versus UK?
So the obvious
Again,
one
maybe
is
3 each. I think I just got this thing about 3 today. So let's
sure,
go with 3 pros and
sure. If
cons.
you're into your threes today, let's go ahead. The first one, obviously, is family. My entire family are in the UK. I'm the only one over here
Mhm.
of my family, so a con of being in the USA is I miss them. The second one is candy. So I feel bad saying this because I'm in the USA now, but the chocolate is just not as good. It's really not as good. The desserts and the chocolate, it's not the same. It's really not. They can tell me all they want that they have good chocolate. They don't. So I really miss the chocolate. I miss my Maltesers. I miss my Lion Bar.
Oh,
I miss
Lion
my
Bar.
Nintendo. I miss my
Nostalgia.
Drifter.
My bad.
So that's another con is the candy. Another one is, I mean, I haven't been living in the UK for 11 years now, but when I did live there, it wasn't as over the top
Mm,
political as it is here. Um,
yeah.
so at times I struggle with the politics that happen here. It's just a different way of thinking. Um, it's just not me. That's a little deep, my answer there, but it's the
No,
truth.
please, go
It's the
ahead.
truth. It's a
Go
little
ahead.
bit more political here for me, someone who's really not into my politics. So
Likewise.
that's a bit of a con for me. But let's go to the pros, considering some people from the US are going to be watching this. They want to kick me out of the group right now. The pros. let's see. I live in California. It's amazing here. The
Beautiful.
weather, you can walk 5 minutes from my house and you have like amazing views and amazing hike. The weather here is amazing. The landscape is amazing. In general, the people are super nice people that live
Agree.
in my area. So that's a big pro for me. It's a lot easier to be mentally healthy,
Yeah.
let's say, where I live now than where I was in Coventry. So no offense to anyone who's from Coventry, but it was not the most, not the
You can
nicest
stop
place.
there. Stop there.
I don't think we have any Coventry people in the group. I haven't seen
You'll
anyone
never
from
know.
Coventry. I'm born and bred there. I can say it. It's fine.
Okay.
All my
That's
family
fair.
are still there. They don't care.
Okay.
The I'm a meat eater. The meat here is beautiful.
Mm.
Let's say that the barbecues here, but they're just the best. Um, I'm struggling to think of 3 pros, and now this is bad.
You've told me 3.
Oh, have I?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You said California's one. The second one. Oh no, sorry. You just muttered out loads of stuff about California. Sorry, it felt like a few points. So California one. Second is the barbecues, pretty much.
Yeah, well, I've always been a huge fan of barbecue. Then I came here, I was like, oh, this is insane. The amount of stuff that you
Yeah.
have here. Um, I guess the
And
next
and
one
then
is
oh sorry Dan and the genuine care as well with marinating and stuff like that because like I said I got family in America in California in Phoenix Arizona in that's it actually some people were around but then they left and yeah when we were having barbecues there it was a proper event, you know
yeah,
what I mean,
it's
it's
a
not
full
just
on
like
event.
put a couple of things and slap it on the barbie, it's kind of like no it's properly done and
Yeah,
oh care.
yeah. You have like a full on smoker and stuff, and they just pull it out the
Oh,
smoker, and it's just
oh.
the meat is so tender it just
I'm,
slides
I'm
off the bone.
salivating.
Yeah, it's insane. When I first came here, I was like, wow, this is a different world. So
Okay,
that's
third.
that.
Third
Third
point.
one, I'm going to say football. So we don't have the 3 p.m. rule here. So
Amazing.
since I moved to California, I can watch every single Premier League game
Mm,
without fail.
mm,
Um, they show every single game for every single team. So which I never got in England. I had to like wait for match of the day or whatever. But now I can just watch any game I want at any time. Which is great being a Wolves fan living in America now since I can't go to the games anymore. But I watch more games now than I did then because I can watch every single one on TV.
absolutely.
So that's a huge pro.
Brilliant. Oh wow, what a question this is. And please say yourself, because that'll just be amazing. But and don't say him because he asked a question. I love how I'm setting rules.
Yeah.
Say what you want, but who is the best Dan on Twitter?
You give me very specific rules. I have to say myself, and I can't say him.
Okay, if you were to pick a Dan that includes yourself, who's the best one on Twitter
You know
in
what's
this
funny
moment
is
for you?
forget the North versus South game week 39. I'm pretty sure Twitter could do a Dan versus Andy game week 39. So many Dans and Andys on this platform. I mean, the best Dan. I mean, define best. I'm gonna throw that back out you. Define best.
Uh,
Are we talking nicest? Or are we talking funny?
however you translate the question
Oh,
yourself.
that's a cop out, Ray.
Come on, man, I'm good at this shit. Come on.
And I can't say FPL Dan.
um, I mean, you can if you want.
You know what I'm gonna say? I'm gonna say FPL fella. And here's why I'm gonna say that. It's because when I first came across him on Twitter, and I think a lot of people get this first impression, and I mean this in the nicest way, is he might not come across as someone who's as nice as he actually is in person. I haven't met him in person, but I've talked to him off Twitter. I've talked to him on Twitter. Clearly, a super nice guy. Everyone who's met him has so many good things about him. He openly talks about mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So purely for that, I will vote for him.
Yeah, I can second that. So yeah, I met him a few times. Great guy. DM'd him a few times. Great guy. And yeah, at first you think he comes off as just just another kind of troll on Twitter and stuff like that. And when you get talking to him and even on DMs and stuff, really great guy. I think the first time I really interacted was, last season when Spaces became quite popular. I was all over them. like all the time. I was making it was like me, Sonaldo, and Sam FPL Down Under. We were doing
Yeah.
spaces all the time, and then I just got bored because it was like, yeah, welcome to Enter Game Week. It was just monotonous all the time. And then there was one time I think I was going to Cambridge or something like that for business, and I was on a long train, and I just opened up a space about just let's just talk about life, and then Dan was on there, Mike Halpin was on there. I think you know Mike Halpin as well,
Hmm.
and a couple of other chaps were on there as well, and basically we were just talking about like life and race and all that kind of stuff, and then just learned a lot about Dan. Aaron was on there as well,
Yeah.
just learned a lot about it. So yeah, I think Dan is a fantastic choice, and hopefully when we come back, when you come visit the UK, maybe this year, make sure you get your ass down in London, and we'll do a meet as well, man. That would be great.
Absolutely. And I know Dan is coming to California end of this year to go
Oh,
wine tasting and stuff. So I'm hoping to meet him in person then. Um, so yeah, that's my vote purely based on how he actually is versus how he first comes across on Twitter. And I mean that in the nicest way.
no, it's true. You think he's a dickhead? He's not. Okay, so FPL Paz. Yeah, okay. We've answered a lot of these questions, and we've kind of answered number two as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cool. Okay, and Nihal, great guy. What is your realistic expectations from Wolves this season? So you kind of said between 8 and 10, but what about the cups? Like, you think there might be a focus on maybe the domestic cups as well?
Um, I don't think so. I don't think we have the squad depth to be able to go too far in the cups. To be honest, we would struggle. We have no depth. If we
Hmm.
go too far in the cups, we're just gonna get burnt out. It'd be nice to see Wolves win some kind of cup and have a nice run. But I think our focus needs to be on the league. Um,
Hmm.
and my realistic expectation is mid table. If I'm being honest,
Okay.
I would love to see us somehow push on and try and get Europe. But unless we sign someone, I think it's unlikely.
Hmm. Number two, we answered, so I won't go to that. But three, yeah, I mean, I would have asked if the question hadn't come up prior to this video. But honest opinion about Adama Traore?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. We haven't spoke about him yet because
No.
he returned to training for Wolves, and he's got 1 year left on his contract. So we kind of have to sell him now or lose him for free. And I don't think he really wants to play for us. But what if he ends up being in our team? He might be what we need. He clearly he's had his end product is terrible. He can run from our goal to the opposite goal and just take on the entire team, and he's unstoppable, absolutely unstoppable. And then he gets to his final kick, and he just skies it over the bar or taps it into the keeper's hand. He's really missing that end product. If he could sort out that end product, he would be world class, no doubt. But he didn't do it at Barcelona either. I thought he would go there, and maybe with the difference between the Spanish league and the English league, it might be what he needs to push on. But he just didn't do it. And he needs a manager who can sort out his end product, and then he would honestly be a really world class player.
How old is Adama Traore? 27?
He's not. I don't even think he's like. Oh, I think he's like. I think he's 25, 26. I don't think he's that old. Are you looking it up?
keep going, because I'm
Yeah,
really because I want to obviously give an opinion about it,
yeah,
but kind of at the same time want to see his age. So he's 26, yeah, right in between. What
yeah,
you and I said.
yeah, 26. So
So
he's approaching his peak.
yeah, so peak Adama Traore was for me playing in a 3-5-2, kind of as that flowing front man, like I was saying about Neto.
Yeah,
Just being an absolute nuisance. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to shift it on his right foot on the byline, but you just can't stop him. The pace, the power, the explosivity is just outrageous. The one great thing I'll give him is he has a really nice stand up back post delivery. And there
he
were a
does.
lot of times he did that, and Jimenez would come onto it,
Yeah,
especially a couple of seasons ago when they were really playing. And I think Traore got quite a few, like 8-9 goals and like 7-8 assists or something like that.
yeah.
the thing about him is him going to Spain was even worse for him because it relies more on technical ability, and he's not really an individual who offers that in regards
Yeah,
to the fast transitions of passing and movement and stuff like that.
yeah.
Um,
I thought maybe he'd be given a bit more space in
mm,
Spain that he could run into, but it didn't quite work out, did it?
no, I think this is him. I can't see more happening now. At
No.
26 years old, he is what he is. He bases his game a lot on a just explosion of movements and stuff like that. But that I think this is just the player he is, which I hate to say. I feel he and Saint Maximan kind of have some similarities, but I do
Yeah, sure.
feel after Eddie Howe joined that Saint Maximan has definitely been working more on his technical ability. I feel you could tell proactively as well because I saw a lot of great stuff, especially when Newcastle played us. We couldn't handle him, obviously because he's a fantastic player, but also his passing was just a complete different level.
Yeah.
I feel with Adama Traore is this might just be him now for the rest of his career, and also
Mm.
his body might break up as well. I mean, the man is just massive.
He's huge. I mean, they even put baby oil all over his arms because people grab him and just slide off his arm. It's hilarious. Watching him on the sidelines, just getting some guys just rubbing baby oil up and down his arms.
Amazing.
Strange sight.
Would you
Um,
like him to stay, or would you actually like to sell him?
I mean, I would like to see him stay. We need the money, and that's the thing. We need to be able to sell him. But if you take that out of the equation, I would like to see him stay. I find him very entertaining to watch, but also extremely frustrating. And I still have hope that there's an amazing player in there somewhere. I really do. But like you said, maybe he's at the age now where he's just not going to change.
Mm,
26 is a little old, I guess, to
mm.
suddenly start being better technically. But all he has to do is take on a bunch of players, get to the the box, and feed it to someone like Neto, and let Neto do the rest. you know?
He's like the classic 2/3 player. He'll take
Yeah,
you to that point and then
he is. But the thing is, that 2/3 is what Wolves are really missing right now. Having someone who can, a box to box midfielder who can pick up the ball, be very direct, and get the ball to the forwards. We really miss that. We have Neves and Moutinho who are amazing on the ball, can spread the ball all over the pitch, but they're not. They're both slow. They're not. They can't take on players very well. That's what we need. I mean, you said Morgan Gibbs White can potentially be that person.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
cool.
I wouldn't mind to see him stay. Why not?
Excellent. Oh, where are we? I think we might be on the last one. But that was the last one. There you go.
Last
Sheesh.
there we go. Some good
As you
questions there.
as you see, professionalism is my middle name. But before we wrap it up, how was it for you, Dan? Did you enjoy it? Was it all right?
Yeah, I very much enjoyed it. I genuinely am a fan of your channel, as I showed by my preparation. So
Class.
it's funny you've had some really top guests on this show. So I kind of felt like that meme, with the soldiers, and then there's like the clown in the middle. So I felt a little bit like the clown. You've had like Salah on here, Andy Martin, Joshua Bull. You had some great people on this, so I really appreciate you inviting me on. I had a lot of fun.
That's brilliant. But for me, I don't care about the amount of numbers or someone's history and all this stuff. If I feel like there's a good vibe with the individual, then I'm more than happy to invite them because that's what this channel's about. It's
Yeah,
about inviting individuals, learn more about them as football fans because that's where the love of FPL comes from, right? It's
yeah,
as football fans, and
yeah,
it's not really a niche I've seen in FPL at the moment. Everyone's like, oh, let's talk about your FPL team, which is brilliant. I love the game. Absolutely love it. I'm obsessed with it. I love it. But, it all came from the nucleus and foundations of being football fans as being kids, and enjoying these players. So it was a real pleasure to have you on, man. Like, I really
thank you.
appreciate it. Yeah.
I
And
appreciate you inviting me. Thank you.
of course, man. And make sure we do something soon. That'll be good as well. Spaces or something like that and get you back on. But before we wrap it up, man, how can they follow you?
So my Twitter handle, let me do this right. This is my Twitter handle, FPL_BlackWolf. I actually host FPL USA Spaces. A member of FPL Meets. I've just became the Wolves correspondent for All About FPL, which is really exciting.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was brilliant. Yeah. Congrats.
It's going to be
Amazing.
an exciting season, I think. But I'm really on Twitter for the interaction with people. I also don't care about numbers and things like that. I really like the community. I really miss talking to people about football and FPL. So that's what I'm here for. So if that's what you're into, give me a follow. And make sure you follow Ray and subscribe to his channel.
Yeah.
Ray, I'm sorry.
Brilliant. That's with an E, not an A.
Yeah, that's Ray with an E.
It's not even my real name, and I'm so anal about it.
I'm just gonna blame my strange blended accent.
Yeah. That's the way to do it. But that's fantastic. So yeah, make sure to follow Dan at FPL_BlackWolf. Again, yeah, I never said it. Congratulations in regards to your gig with All About FPL. Suya, who I've met a couple of times, great guy, great content. Love what they do. I know Nima's involved quite a bit in regards to the editorial part as well. So, and I know Nima quite well. So, absolutely fantastic. Keep killing it, man. You're doing brilliantly. And yeah, so guys, it's bye from me, and it's bye from
me.
Take care, guys. All the best.